Welcome to the True Rotarian Podcast. This podcast is specially designed for all the true Rotarians by a true Rotarian. So let's talk about the immediate challenges which you received just before starting your center.
Of which I also didn't know because it was not my profession to run a skill center.
About your selection process of the machines.
So we selected 4 trades. One was a CNC machine operator, an F&B steward, a welding technician, and a sewing machine operator.
What about the students? From where did you get the students? Welcome to the next edition of True Rotarian Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about stories which are very inspiring, and we talk about Rotary in action and the impacts it creates in the society. October is a month which talks about economic and community development in Rotary. And what a better month to celebrate a journey which started in late 90s to transform thousands of lives through skill development. I'm your host, Rotarian AKS Hemant Bhasin, and with me we have 2 very dynamic personalities, past President Rotarian Rima Garg from Rotary Club of Delhiites, and my colleague and a very dear friend, past President Rotarian Amit Chaudhary. Rima ji, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Amit, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Just tell me, how do you feel like coming to a True Rotarian show?
It's my first chance for this kind of a recording. I've seen some 30 podcasts of yours. They were really, really inspiring. So I was just waiting for this opportunity where I can tell people what we did, how we started the Skill Development Center.
Excellent. How about you, ma'am? How do you feel coming to a podcast channel?
Yeah, like this is my
Which is dedicated totally to Rotarians, where we talk about only what Rotary does, the projects that we do, the kind of Rotary ethics, Rotary principles. How do you feel to be part of this very special channel?
Well, to be frank enough, this is my first podcast ever. And I was not even knowing that we have such podcast in our district itself, unless I got a call from Amit Chaudhary and then subsequently a call from you. And I was really excited to be a part of this podcast. And I then viewed a lot of, True Rotarian podcast. And I was really happy to have so many podcasts and hear them. And I would say you're really doing a wonderful job bringing these things on live. The podcast and letting the people tell their stories through your podcast.
Thank you so much and welcome once again to Rotarian Podcast. Amit, let's start how this particular journey of skill development or setting up a skill development project started within our club.
So it goes back to 2015-16 when I was the treasurer of the club of Rotary Club of Delhi South End, and Rotarian Atul Chugh was being installed as the president. I was taking over as his treasurer. We'd invited the Union Minister for Skill Development, Rudhi Pratap Singh, as the chief guest. He gave such an enthusing lecture on skill development. He told us that there was a girl in a village who'd done a vocation on beautician, and she opened a beauty parlor within her home in her village, and she was earning 20,000 rupees back there in her village by just doing a short-term 3-4 month course and getting trained as a beautician.
Wow. Actually, this, when you say about in 97 and, then we kept on talking about it within our club till 99. And I still remember we were there in Bhutan during Garima Misra's family trip to Bhutan. And there we made all the incoming 5 presidents agree to support the skill development project. You remember that?
Yeah. So, Hemant, see, it's a long-term project. I didn't want it to be a short-term because there was a lot of investment. and there was a lot of a whole lot of children who were studying there, and their future depended on that. So continuity of such a skill development center is like of utmost importance.
True.
So what we did is we identified 5 future presidents, which is pretty difficult in Rotary. We identified 5 future presidents, made an MOU, got it signed from everyone, all those 5 presidents, and presented it to the district and then to the Rotary International, where we got a grant from, because they said, how can you assure us about the continuity of this project after your presidency year is finished?
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, though we started talking about this particular or thinking about starting a skill development project way back in mid 90s, actually the inauguration of the skill development was done on 17th of November 2019 when I was the president, if you remember.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was a big thing that just before COVID we managed to start. Rimaji, coming to you, when did your club decide to go in for a skill development project?
Yeah, in fact, in 2022, I became the president of the club, and we had a GOV. Because in that tenure only it started that the GOV would be happening before the tenure. So when we had a GOV, a typical question from the DG that what do you plan to do in your year? And I was not knowing what to say, and instantly I said, okay, we'll develop a skill center. and we have told that, and now we have to implement it, right? And how do we go ahead with it? And we were just thinking about it. How do we go ahead? How are we going to set up a skill center? And then, we had those PEMs in our clubs. So the coming president, Seema Gupta, she went to the PEM, and there she met Amit Chaudhary. And there she came to know about the Pusa Road Skill Center. And they visited. Then they told me that we have identified a skill center, and it is in Pusa Road, and let's go and visit that place. So I, along with them, I went there. I saw the infrastructure, and I was really excited to have that, to see the whole thing going on and so many students getting skilled. So we came back and we told our club that yes, we want to start up a skill center. Why don't we go and visit that place? So then the club, few people from our club, they went there. They instantly we decided that we are going to have a skill center. We opened up a trust. We collected money from a lot of trustees, and we needed a huge amount. And how do we go ahead even to have an MOU signed with DSU?
Okay, we'll come to that little later.
Yeah.
Let's go about the journey that you had. So let me assume that in the GOV, when the DG asked you what project you want to do, in your subconscious mind, you were convinced that the best community project
Yes.
to do in Rotary is to skill people.
Yes.
Am I right in assuming that?
Yes. You can attribute it to my aspirations, my personal aspirations
Yes,
also.
it is there in your subconscious mind. Yeah.
No. In fact, I was an academician before. I was a guest lecturer in Hansraj College. So I have been teaching students.
Wow.
And that really ran into my veins. And I wanted that, I always loved teaching. So
You are looking so young to be a teacher, yeah?
And then after I got married, I got myself involved in the family business.
Okay.
And then today I'm heading the HR for SMC Global Securities Limited also.
Fantastic.
So I think somewhere down the lane, the HR as well as the lecturership, both, they serve the community. So something was there inherent also that we wanted a skill development thing to be done, and it happened somehow, and I think by God's grace and everyone's support, it happened. So.
Fantastic. Amit, let's start that we took a sort of decision and we signed the MOU. But let's very briefly talk about the journey that we sort of had to negotiate from actual conceptualization to start to the raising funds and start this particular thing? Very quickly, let's go through that.
So, see, how it started was I was very, very sure that we are not going to rent or buy any land or building, and we are going to use some space which is defunct, which is not being utilized by any government agency, be it DDA, MCD. So, I started scouting for spaces. And believe you me, I had 5 choices. I was spoiled for choices in selecting the place where I would run a skill center. There was an offer from Arya Samaj, there was an offer from DDA, there was an offer from YMCA, there was an offer from Seva Bharati, and then finally an offer from Directorate of Training and Technical Education, which is ITI.
Let me stop you here. Ladies and gentlemen, there is one thing that I would like to point out. Yes, we all work very, very hard. And I was also part of the journey when we were selecting a sort of space. Like Amit mentioned that we went to Arya Samaj and we went to a couple of more places. One of the biggest criteria which we as a club kept in mind was the protocol. Since we are going to be representing Rotary, the name Rotary has to be done. So in terms of safety norms were kept in mind, which had safety as per sort of US standards, right?
Yeah.
Which had 2 exits and 2 sort of fire exits and things
Absolutely.
like that. So all these protocols were kept in mind while starting that. Go ahead, please.
So the next step was to identify an agency who would train us, because we had no experience in skill development.
Right.
So we started scouting for agencies who have been running skill development centers, and we chose an agency called Learn-ed Skills Limited.
Yes.
Which was at that time ILNFS. We signed an MOU with them for an advisory role in setting up a skill center. And yes, they were a little expensive, but they are the best in this trade.
I believe they also have one center running in Rashtrapati Bhavan, right?
Yeah, they have 363 centers all over India.
Wow.
And they have one in Rashtrapati Bhavan, as you just
And
mentioned.
with army, in the army cantonment also they have
A
one.
lot of them, even in prisons.
Wow. You also have the same model?
We
or?
initially started with Learn-ed. Then the courses which we had selected, the 4 courses, we found that we could run it on our own. So later on we backed
Okay.
Learn-ed, and then now the course is being certified by NSDC, and we get the certification from DSEU also for the same, and so we run the course on
Great.
our own now. Yeah.
So let's talk about the immediate challenges which you received just before starting your center.
The first challenge was to convince and persuade the club members.
Yes.
We first persuaded the board members. The board was convinced, but then the club members had 1,000 questions, answers of which I also didn't know, because it was not my profession to run a skill center. So that was the difficult part. But yes, and then identifying the place, getting an MOU with that authority. So these were some challenges. Money was never a challenge for South End.
Yes, money is never a challenge for South End. That is absolutely true. I think one of the important thing is that we were very, very fortunate to already have a foundation within ourselves so that we could attract money from CSR companies and,
Yeah, that's very right. A foundation is like really, really important. One, to give the donor an ATG certificate
certification.
or receive a CSR grant for the foundation. And even the Rotary International is very, very comfortable if a separate foundation is created and the grant is going there and they are managing the show. And it also helps in continuity.
Absolutely. Reema ji, you also have a foundation in your club?
Yes, we have a foundation, but as Amit Chaudhary ji said that how the challenges which they faced for us, the challenges were not setting up a skill center, because ours was a very new club. It started in 2018 and we didn't had any of the long-term project. So convincing the members was not difficult, but yes, getting the money was a bit difficult because they've never invested in the project. We collected money. We made a trust. We made a foundation. We collected money. We got 10 trustees. We took 5 lakhs from each of them. The amount was less. Then CP Gupta ji, he gave from his Ambika Steels, from his CSR, he gave 25 lakhs. The subsequent to it was given by SIMSI Global Securities. I endorsed 25 lakhs into the foundation. Then I think it was not a problem, because once they see the outcome and they are convinced,
Then
with
the
the
money keeps
students,
coming
yes,
in.
then the money keeps on. The initial thing was really difficult
Wow.
to get the money, but then yes, to start the project was not difficult because they have never seen anything before. It was a very new club and it was a first project, so I think
Wow.
it was easier for me to.
So good. Now,
yeah.
actually, since we are talking about skill development journey, the project, journey that we all had to go through, we convinced the members, we got the money, now we got the place, and I'm sure you have a similar story about the place. Let's select about your selection process of the machines, because I believe Southend is one of those skill development centers where we have got state-of-art equipment. Should we tell our viewers as to why we had selected that kind of high-tech machines?
Sure. So answering your question, Hemant, prior to selection of machines, there's a process of selection of trades, selection of vocations. What vocations would you like the students to be trained in?
True.
So we selected the vocations according to the capability of our Rotarian industrialists who could absorb those students into permanent jobs. So we selected 4 trades. One was a CNC machine operator, an F&B steward, a welding technician, and a sewing machine operator. So these were the trades selected because there were a lot of garment exporters, there were a lot of automotive component manufacturers in our club, and there were restaurateurs and hoteliers
And there
in
are
our club.
exporters.
Yeah, and there are a lot of garment and textile made-up exporters. So that was an easy target for us, where we wanted to be sure that the students would be placed. Then was the selection of machinery. We were very, very particular that we should have only those machines which are currently used in the industry as on date. We should not have any outdated machine, even if it cost 1 crore. So we invested nearly that amount for our CNC machines, 2 of them, which are state-of-the-art CNC machines, which are currently used in the entire industry for automotive component manufacturing in India. For the sewing machine operator, we have all the motorized. We have 34 machines, all motorized, state-of-the-art, latest machines, which you find in a garment export trade. Then the welding machines were donated by a member of ours, and it works like that. So we wanted our students to be productive right from day one. So once
True.
they enter into an industry, they are not faced with a new machine which they've never seen.
Right. It's very important, because a child who learns how to stitch on a Usha machine, and when he or she goes to a large organization where they have Zuki machines, it's very difficult to adapt. I think it's a great strategy. Absolutely. Dhimaji, you had also a similar story to tell?
Yeah, for us also, selection of the 4 courses was really, challenging, because we wanted a course wherein we can place the people after the course, right? So we wanted some courses which are very job relevant, and with the demand is there in the market. But for setting up the whole thing, I think we got a lot of support from Amit ji. Everything was readily available to us through him. He helped us in getting the MOU signed with DSU, and we didn't have to take so much of pain as they have done for their club, setting up the whole thing from scratch, because we had those classrooms. We just had the furniture to be fixed in. So I think a lot of things were ready-made and a lot of things we had to do.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But then yes, selection of the courses was difficult, but we did it because we chose 2 service-oriented courses, service sector courses, and we chose 2 from the manufacturing courses. So we started with CNC and welding because we got the feedback from them. And then we started with 2 courses for the service industry, which is an equity dealer, and the other one was customer care executive.
Wow.
So we had 4 courses, and 2 service sector oriented and 2 the manufacturing sector oriented. So
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Amit, let's also tell our viewers as to we have set up a state-of-art skill development center, latest machines, excellent teachers who are going to teach with so much of experience in teaching all over the country. What about the students? From where did you get the students?
So students, getting students is a difficult job in spite of the fact that we run it for free and even the employer gets all the trained students for free. The students come from a underprivileged background and they have most of them have secured not over 50% in their studies in their 10th or 12th, and they have no place to get admitted for higher studies. They don't have much choices though, but still it is a difficult job. So we hired 3 mobilizers. They used to go in gurdwaras, markets, industrial areas, shopping centers, and JJ colonies and set up camps and advertise the skill center.
Wow.
The second was that we got data from the Directorate of Training and Technical Education of students who've not been able to secure good marks, and we started calling them. So that was the other channel. And now 5-6 years down the line, we don't have such challenges because we have an established center. There are a lot of people who know. We even have students from ITI, because ITI is not really teaching them on the machine training because they don't have latest equipment and latest machines. So after they finish their ITI, they come to our center for 3-4 months, get trained on the machines, and obviously we give them a job.
Fantastic. You also have a similar system of advertising for students?
Yeah, we did keep a mobilizer initially, and till date we have one mobilizer with us who keeps on getting the students. When we talk about the first batch, the students was really difficult to get in because they were not knowing there's a center here, and moreover DSU also had their own courses, so they were like getting a 3-month course and they were not sure they'll be getting a job after this 3 month.
True.
So students were not very sure that getting into this would get them a job also. But after the first batch, because when we placed 100%, we did 100% placement for the first batch. After we did that, I think word of mouth grabbed in a lot of students, and then yes, the mobilizer. We even contacted with the local MLA. We politically also we discussed with few of the politicians nearby at the Shalimar Bagh area and the Wazirpur area.
See, we've got about 140 odd clubs in our district. My appeal to all our club members and all the club presidents that we should sort of use our resources. Now, can you imagine there are 2 clubs who have got a state-of-art skill development center, one in Pusa and one in Wazirpur, where we are giving free of cost education in 6 or 7 verticals combined together, or 9 verticals combined together. Now, if you have any child, anybody that you know who needs a job, who needs a skill, please do get in touch with Rotary Club of Delhi South End or Rotary Club of Delhi, Delhiites, so that we can help those children get the skills and get them 100% placement opportunity. Well, coming to the next segment, how many sort of children have you trained so far and got them jobs?
So in the past 6 years or so, we've trained about 2,600 odd students, and we've placed most of them. Over our record is over 90%.
Wow.
And it is not only about placement. There are a lot of students who want to start their own small businesses. Giving you an example of a F&B steward trainee who has just recently opened a cafe in Rajinder Nagar, and she's employed 2 more students from the same trade.
Fantastic.
In her own cafe.
Fantastic. Can you imagine? You said 2,500. That means Rotary Club of Delhi South End alone has been responsible for changing over 1,000 lives. Because if you change one life, you are changing 4 other lives. Let's talk about your story, ma'am. How many children have you sort of trained and given them the jobs?
Yes. So if we talk about our club and about our skill center, we have started the skill center since 2 years, 2.5 years somewhat, and we have trained somewhat around 1,000 plus students here also, and we have placed more than 850 students which have got the
fantastic. Fantastic. Are you thinking of adding more verticals?
Yes, we are planning to add few more verticals. We are planning to have digital marketing, assistant chef, because we are very,
Actually, even Rotary Club of Delhi South End also has a digital marketing. Am I right?
That's supported by NIIT Foundation, and that's a very good course, a latest one. And there's a lot of aspiration among students to pursue that course. And jobs are instantly available. And it is really short term. It's only just a 2-month course.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing your views. Anything that you would like to tell our viewers about your experience of running a skill development center?
I think, there's a lot of satisfaction which you get. I always say there are two kinds of food. One food which we eat, and the other food which we give to our conscience. So food to conscience is something which we do only by helping others. When we give back to the community, I think our conscience is satisfied only when we do that. So giving yourself an exterior food would satisfy your body maybe, but to satisfy your conscience, you have to give that food of community help.
Wow.
So somewhere down the lane, all of us need to give that food to our conscience.
Wow. Amit, any message to the viewers or the clubs?
So the message which I want to give, I remember PDG Anup Mittal quoting this thing in an installation in our club. He said that this skill center which you've opened is the best ROI, return on investment, which you can get. You spend only 13,000-14,000 or maximum 15,000 to train one student, and he's capable of getting a job for 1,80,000. Investing 15,000 and in return getting 1,80,000 in 1 year flat is the best ROI possible in the industry.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Amit, and thank you so much, Rivaji, for spared your valuable time coming on a early morning, negotiating all the traffic from your house to here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Amit.
Before we close, can I tell you a short story which happened about a year ago?
Yeah, sure.
So there's this member of our club, Rotarian Nitin Arjun. His driver's son wanted to pursue a job, and he was not able to secure good marks in his 12th standard. So the driver asked Nitin that if you can help me in placement of his son. So Nitin sent that the driver's son to our skill center, and he just informed me that he's my driver's son, I'm sending, तो इसको कुछ अच्छी training दिलवा दो और इसको job चाहिए. So he pursued the F&B steward vocation, and he got placed in a 5-star hotel, and his starting salary was 22,000 rupees a month.
Wow.
1 year down the line, Nitin's driver asked for an advance of 2 lakhs. एंड ही सेड कि साहब मेरे को अभी 2 लाख चाहिए, मेरे को अपना घर पक्का कराना है, तो आप प्लीज़ मेरे को 2 लाख एडवांस दे दो और आप 25,000 रुपये मेरा हर महीने काट देना. तो देन नितिन आंसर्ड कि अगर 25,000 रुपये मैं काट ही दूंगा तो तू घर क्या लेके जाएगा, 25,000 तो तेरी सैलरी है. तो वो कहता है कि नहीं, आपने मेरे बेटे की जॉब लगवा दी ना, घर तो उसी से चल जाता है.
Wow, fantastic.
So it was really,
Fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Well, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Amit and Rima. This October, we celebrate Economic and Community Development Month. Let's remember, skilling people is the most important part of service. If you skill one person, you are changing 4 lives. Please do think about it, introspect, and if you have anybody who needs skilling, please be free to get in touch with us. And if you have a story to tell, a project to discuss, please get in touch with True Rotarian Podcast. Thank you so much, and Jai Hind.